there was nothing controversial in my last fight. I won. Tough guy. Tony Gutierrez, he just won his last fight. I think this is the fight that I definitely have to make people that maybe are doubting me believe that, you know what, this guy really got what it takes to beat the world champions in the division. You know, and I think this is that opportunity. And I think that's what I definitely want to prove in this fight, that I'm a different fighter.
And there he is, King Gabe Rosado, trained by the ferocious one, Fernando Vargas, from Philadelphia, now living, there you see Feroz, now living in Southern California as he and Fernando Vargas, former world champion, who he had a great battle with Oscar De La Hoya, is now a trainer, has his own gym, Feroz Fight Factory in Las Vegas, but Rosado lives in Southern California, so that's where they're at. And here's the last fight against fellow Golden Boy fighter Tony Gutierrez. That was at the StubHub Center in June on the, that went 10 rounds, the distance. Rosado got clipped a couple times.
Oh, yeah, he even went down. It was a hard fight. I believe Rosado won by a close unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Basically, he had to rely on his experience and ring savvy. He couldn't stand and trade with the younger, busier fighter. And so we saw some of that savvy. So you see the moving, picking his shots when to land, making his punches count. It was a very entertaining fight.
You know, guys, the one thing that I really wonder about Gabe Rosado, given the fact in his own mind and heart, he thought he had the fight with Billy Joe Saunders. And in fact, him and Fernando came to the wild card about 2 months ago, and they were planning to rent out the downstairs portion of that gym. And they had told me in private, we have the title fight for the WBO crown against Saunders. Now, that when that was pulled away, I think naturally everyone's a human. You might have a psychological and mental letdown, and now you're facing a relatively difficult style in Willie Monroe. I just wonder, Doug, can a guy who's thinking to himself, I'm fighting for the world title, get up for Willie Monroe?
I think he can. At least he sounds that. He's talking that talk. He sounds animated, and maybe that's why he's kind of made this matchup personal. It got contentious between him, mostly on his side during the media conference cards.
Right. Well, you know, if the fight is as good as the conference call that they had for the media, move over Salido Vargas.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a barn burner, but it's definitely competitive and definitely difficult on paper, particularly for Rosado, who actually likes it when guys bring the fight to him. He's got a lot of heart, but I think he knows he can't afford to lose at this stage of his career. He's suffered too many setbacks, and the reason he still has his stature within the sport is, you know, he's entertaining. He's got a great personality, kind of got like a little sort of rock star vibe going. He was in the Creed movie and did pretty well with that. But I think people realize, they look at the strength of his schedule, and they look like, okay, yeah, you lost, but it was to David Lemieux. It was to Gennady Golovkin. It was to Peter Quillen. He doesn't lose to chumps.
He was also Leo the Lion Sperino in the Creed movie. After he was that. And Gabriel Rosado from Philadelphia, Puerto Rican roots, 23-9, 13 KOs. But he learned on the job. Only 11 amateur fights, and he turned pro right before his 20th birthday. No real amateur experience. Learned as he was going. Basically, as he said, because he needed to make some money. So that's what he was doing, finding those club shows in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He just had the natural talent. But this is a fighter, when you just type in Gabe Rosado, there's no middle ground with him. Fight fans either call him names because of his record, or other fight fans are like, you know what, we know what we're going to get from him. He's lost 9 times, but as you mentioned it, he comes to fight. He's not going to run. He's a scrap with you. It'll probably be a bloody fight, but he's going to be entertaining.
Well, against Golovkin, it was his blood. Lots of blood. But here's the thing, and real fight fans realize this. He didn't quit. He refused to quit. I mean, the corner had to throw the towel in because his face was literally falling apart. And against Peter Quillen, and even in spots against David Lemieux, he was competitive. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and Beto, my favorite online moniker that they've given him is the Gabekeeper. And that's exactly
that's a good one.
That's a good one.
And that's exactly what he's going to become if he can't beat Willie Monroe. This is almost an all-or-nothing opportunity, given the fact, I spoke about this earlier, the winner of this fight could be getting Canelo in December. So in many respects, this is a Saul Alvarez eliminator. But you're right, Doug. I do believe with the record of 23-9, even though he's only 30 years old, he's perceived to be a little bit older, a lot of wear and tear. Odometer is pretty high. I do think out of those two, Monroe and Rosado, for Rosado, in my opinion, I think it's a must-win situation.
Absolutely.
They'll be fighting at 160 pounds come Saturday. Gabriel Rosado, Willie Monroe Jr. And when you look at Gabriel Rosado in his career, he's bounced around with different trainers. He's had times where he had camps in Puerto Rico. He finally found a home with Fernando Vargas. And it all started because he went to Las Vegas training for a fight against Claudia because he needed to work out. Went to Fernando's gym. Fernando did mitts for him, and then a relationship was born from there, and then they haven't looked back since. It'll be their third fight together, so it's still fighter and trainer getting used to each other.
You know, I think for Fernando Vargas and Rosado, it's an interesting relationship. I often wonder who needs who worse. I actually did a story on Fernando Vargas a couple of years ago for his reality show that was, I believe, on a Spanish network.
Yeah.
And he basically said retiring at the age of 27 after his loss to Ricardo Mayorga in 2007, he was such a young man. He was a wayward soul. He really was. I think his personal life was in flux. He didn't know what he was going to do the rest of his life. And I think in many ways, guys, he's found salvation right back to the same venue that actually gave him his stardom, boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could tell, you know, in his late 20s, right after his retirement, he was heavy.
Yeah.
He was not taking care of himself. And a lot of people were worried
Yeah.
about his health. Had he continued on that path, and I think going back to his roots and training young fighters, because he doesn't just train professionals.
Yeah.
Most of his stable in Vegas at the Ferocious Factory.
Feroz Fight Factory.
Yeah, the Feroz Fight Factory. They're amateurs. They're kids.
Yeah.
So he's not just training. He's teaching, and I think that's really enlivened his soul. And he's taking better care of himself.
He was, as he would say, out of control in the 805. Got out of Boxnard, went to Las Vegas, just picked up and changed routes, and there he is in Vegas. Started that gym because he was training his kids. His older son, I believe, is ready to turn pro soon. But you're right. He only has one other professional fighter, as a young kid with only 3 pro fights. But most of those kids that he has are teenagers, young kids, who you see Fernando more at the amateur tournaments than you would see him in Las Vegas at the pro fights. And you're right. Could he have saved his life? Maybe. But he seems like a happier soul. If you follow Fernando's Instagram, you know that he's trying to work out. As he says, I'm trying to work out right now.
He's no longer heavy V.
But he doesn't have to be.
No, he doesn't have to be. And the one thing is he loves to do it. And Larry Merchant taught me something a long time ago as it related to athletes, specifically boxers. There's 2 deaths that athletes go through. One is as an athlete and one is as a person. And he often said the one as an athlete was much more difficult to deal with.
Much more difficult to deal with. That's every professional athlete.
Yeah.
It's, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to go to camp.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have to go spring training. Hey, now I actually have to be a dad and a husband. Now I guess you got to do things.
Beto, you know what's interesting? And I know you deal with many more pro athletes than I do. How many guys have you seen as they walk away from the sport, you're at the press conference to say goodbye, they say, I can't wait to spend more time with the wife and family. And then about 3 months, they're like, oh, my God, I don't want to spend any more time with the wife and family.
It has to do more with...
Not you, though, Doug. Not you.
No. It's I want to spend more time with my family, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. My family doesn't want me here. Gabe Rosado and Tattoo are in the ring. Tom Hogan taking the pictures. You see King Gabe Rosado. Look at Mike over there with that fancy camera for Golden Boy. Go and check out the Golden Boy Instagram page, YouTube, and Facebook pages all week long. Even, look right there. Look at that sweet Golden Boy Media and Entertainment shirt right there in the black, right next to Fernando. Man, you should see the jacket our director Will has. Ooh, wee! My goodness. Only one of those made for the vice president. Everybody else bunking up twice, 3 people in one room here in Dallas. There you see the fans catching some gear. It's going to get more crowded all week long. Right, Luis? It's going to be crowded right here. Panda, the director. Let's throw it to Tat.
You fight fans that are here, but to everybody that's watching right now on the ringtv.live, I had a chance to speak with Willie Monroe Jr. And, he was in here doing his thing, and I did speak to him about, I spoke with Gabe, and Gabe has nothing nice to say about you. The guy doesn't want to see you in hallways. He doesn't want to see you in elevators. He does not like you, and he's here to put in work on Saturday. His words to you were, God bless you. How do you feel about that, Gabe?
I'm going to show it in the ring. He said some things that I took personally. And
How did this all start, Gabe? If you know, just how did this come about?
it's just, I feel that, you got to show some respect when somebody pays their dues and works hard and been fighting on the big stage for a while. And I just felt like he just talked a little reckless. And, I just want to put him in his place. I feel like he's a fraud, and I'm going to expose him.
Usually people get like beef on Twitter and they can't handle it. Like this is actually a Twitter beef that can get handled.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'd whoop his ass on the elevator if I saw him on the elevator.
Ooh.
But, my team going to hold me back. They told me don't mess our money up, God. But we going to handle it in the ring.
And after you get through with Willie Monroe Jr., Gabe, you've fought Triple G's, David Lemieux, Kid Chocolate, world champions, man. I truly believe in the boxing world. You have definitely earned more than a co-main event. And this could be, we see the main event, Liam Smith versus Canelo. What's next after Willie Monroe? Is there a possibility to face a Canelo Alvarez or maybe think of that fight in the future for yourself?
I'm actually just enjoying the moment. So, it's hard to think about anything else because I'm enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying Texas. I'm enjoying the fans. I'm excited to fight in Dallas. So it's so much going on, so much excitement going on that I'm not even thinking about Canelo and Smith. I'm excited to put on a show. I want to steal the show. A lot of talk is about me and Willie, and people feel it's a big fight, so I just want to steal the show.
Undefeated with Fernando Vargas. How's everything, the camp been? How do you feel?
Oh, camp went great. Me and Feroz, we're undefeated together. We plan on going 3-0. We are going to go 3-0 on the 17th. And we're just getting better together, man. And the chemistry is great. And, we're working hard every day in the gym.
And that's why, man, you're doing big things. Also, congratulations on Creed, man. I know it's on demand right now, so everybody that's watching, they can go ahead and pop on demand and check you out in the movie Creed. And this Saturday, live on HBO pay-per-view, our co-main event, King Gabe Rosado takes on middleweight Willie Monroe Jr. It's about to go down. Ferros Fernando Vargas in the corner. You're watching the RingTV.live. Thank Gabe. Appreciate it. King Gabe Rosado!
Tattoo doing his thing with the fighters in the ring. Bethel Duran, Doug Fisher, and Steve Kim, led by Panda and Will Wright.